The witch's tea party. Hello everyone. In a cathedral devoid of people, a figure could be seen still staring up at the heavens. Its chest pierced with a long red sword that pinned it in place to the ground. It's a beautiful, beautiful image. That figure was Battler. Ironically, it looked just like what he'd done to Beato with Blue Witches in the 4th game. Battler had died quite some time ago. Now, in this place, the concept of death means nothing except that one has stopped thinking. Therefore, in a sense, Battler was not dead. After being defeated in a fight over the truth and surrendering, he no longer had the strength to think of a way to resist. That's what made him dead. Glennor's massive longsword, which had been left in the place of a tombstone, fastened Battler to the spot even after his death. This was all being lit by a faint light seeping out of an incredibly high skylight. Quiet footsteps rang out across the still cathedral. From the darkness behind a pillar, a woman slowly stepped forward. It was Beatrice. Just like they'd been the whole time in the Golden Land, her eyes had no light in them, and were still muddied over with grey. This person was once unable to even drink black tea to her satisfaction by her own will, but though it was slow, and though there was no life in her eyes, she was, surprisingly, walking. Then, with slow, deliberate steps, she reached Battler, who was still dead, pierced through. Then, she slowly touched Battler. She tugged on his sleeve. However, Battler showed no reaction, and she realized that it wasn't sleep, but death. The witch with the hopeless gaze let her head hang even lower. Then, she quietly whispered. Man, it really pays off learning Japanese. I understood that before the text appeared, since she said it earlier. Beato softly touched Battler. Then, she pressed her forehead against Battler's chest. There was no longer any heartbeat. It wasn't just because he had surrendered. It was because the witches had chased him from the game board. So from now on, Battler would never return. So from now on, the Golden Witch Beatrice would have no reason to exist.
ありがとう。嘘つき、さよなら。そして、ごめんね。
Then, the Golden Witch completed her task and scattered as a spray of gold. In the Golden Land, the grey rain gently continued to fall. It was a faint aroma of good black tea. Beato stared blankly at its surface. There was Virgilia, continuing her knitting. Along with me and Glenor talking to each other. This is a recollection. A recollection from Battler's memory, which Glenor's sword must have given him as it pierced him. A recollection of that time Glenor had come to visit the tea party in the Golden Land.
"私も同じです。次に太刀を交えるときは遅れは取りません。
上等だ。相手してやるぜ。全力で来い。
約束し全力です。
Leno, huh? I thought she was an emotionless killer doll without a heart. Maybe she actually is pretty approachable. Though of course, neither of us would show any mercy when fighting over the game board. For a while we gazed at the rain-drenched rose garden as we quietly enjoyed our tea.
しかし、恐ろしいもんだな。お前の戦い方は。ノックス実会だったっけか？ミステリーのお約束ってやつだろ？
はい。我が父が考案した戒律です。
隠し扉は存在してはならない。ノックス第3条だっけか？だから探偵は隠し扉を探す必要さえないわけだ。なかなかな暴論だな。
Van Castle said it herself. She said that because they were forbidden by Nox's third, even searching for hidden doors was a waste of time. I'd like to counter that by saying it probably isn't so uncommon for a rich family's mansion to have a hidden door or two built into it. But apparently that sort of rule works perfectly well in the mystery genre. By the way, there exist many wonderful mysteries in which hidden doors appear, and where hidden doors are the theme. Of course, this is limited to novels which have the premise that hidden doors exist. If that premise doesn't exist, hidden doors must not exist. So because that premise doesn't exist, there's no need to search for hidden doors. I think that's probably the essence of her ridiculous argument. It's like the detective trying to expose the truth, and the illusion trying to confuse it with a mixture of truth and lies, are getting blended together, leading to a bizarre form of argument similar to a devil's proof. Making a closed-room murder seem to be accomplished by a witch with magic is fantasy. Exposing that it was a human's crime done with tricks is anti-fantasy. Examining all possibilities to expose the nature of those tricks is mystery. But it is also mystery to claim that possibilities with no hint supporting them are unworthy of investigation. Let's say a hidden door is hidden in a way that there would be no clues. Would claiming that a hidden door therefore exists even though a detective couldn't find it be anti-mystery? That's enough of that. This argument is too far of a digression from the riddles I'm actually supposed to be solving. My fight is very simple. I'm only fighting to explain how it was possible for a human to carry out these crimes that were supposedly carried out by a witch. This whole discussion about mystery and anti doesn't serve any purpose, or anti. That's why I didn't have any particular interest regarding these rules known as the Nox Decalogue.
ノックスはお嫌いですか？
苦手だな。隠し扉の存在を調べもせずに全否定可能なんて。
Well, you have to kind of see it the other way around. Sorry, Battler, for interrupting you. You have to see it the other way around. Nox is saying no hidden doors must exist, but in a way what he's saying is that the detective must have access and must be able to find all hidden doors that do exist. And by that nature, they're not hidden doors anymore, basically. So, no door can exist that, as Battler has said earlier, the detective can't find. I think that's how I would interpret it. But I might be wrong on that account.
悪魔の証明並みにうさんくせえな。ファンタジーの対極のはずなのに。なぜか同じ論法になっちまってる気がするぜ。言い過ぎた。お前の親父が作ったんだもんな。
お気になさらずに、戯れに過ぎないとおっしゃる方もいらっしゃいますので。
バトラ君には実会はかなり傲慢なものに感じられるのでしょう。
正直なところを言えば、隠し扉は存在してはいけないから、調べる必要さえないなんて。頭のネジが落ちてないかどうか、一緒に床を探してやるところだぜ。
Maybe they would find some hidden doors this way.
では、バトラー、その第3条をなかったことにしましょう。そうなったら密室ミステリーはどうなるでしょうか？
What if Nox's third hidden doors are forbidden didn't exist?
つまり、密室トリックのオチに隠し扉が OK になるってことか。
手がかりや伏線のある隠し扉ではありません。
Here we go.
隠しなのですから無論、探偵にも発見できない隠し扉です。
Okay, so it is basically my interpretation, alright.
バトラ君はよく悪魔の証明により発見できない X の存在を仮定して戦いますね。つまりはそういうことですよ。
最悪だな。密室ミステリーが読み物として破綻しちまう。
And if it were no longer worth anyone's time, it would cease to exist. No one would want to try solving the riddle from the beginning, not if they knew the answer might just be an unforeseeable hidden door.
せめて隠し扉はありませんと保証してもらってからじゃないと推理する気も起きない。なるほど。ノックス第3条は必要だな。それがなけりゃ密室ミステリーは読み物にもなりゃしねえ。
I think I said this before, but I'll say it again. If you have any good books, any good mysteries, any good, like, crime novels or something you recommend, please give me a comment, because I love reading. I love reading, possibly more than any other hobby in the world. Well, more than video games, basically.
推理する気も起きないとは、つまりどういうことですか？
つまり、読む気もしねえってことだな。
そういうことです。人間は推理可能だという保証を得なければ思考さえできないか弱い生き物なのです。
推理可能、すなわち頑張れば解けますよという励ましが必要なのです。
That might be true. It's the same with exercising. If you're told to run around the campus 10 times, you can tough it out. However, if you don't know how many times you're supposed to run around it, you'd probably get tired out before you made it around 3 times. The same thing goes for thinking and reasoning. Humans view a problem differently depending on whether or not it's guaranteed to be solvable. Actually, there's... I don't know what it's called, like this phenomena. It's exactly what has been mentioned just now. If you tell a person to do a task in a specific amount of time, they're most likely gonna do it in exactly that specific amount of time. Like if I give you like a task of, here, Angela, burn these books in like the next 60 minutes, in the next hour, I want you to burn all of these books. Chances are that she's gonna burn them in exactly 1 hour. Like she's gonna finish at exact the end of the allotted time. If I hadn't given her a time frame, she might not have done it in an hour, or she might not have burned them all or something. Like it's curious. Like you can Google it. I've read about this a few years ago, and it is really like that. Like if you've ever been in a position where you have like people working under you and you're giving out tasks, it's best to be as specific as possible and give them like maybe even a short time frame so they really put themselves into it, you know.
推理小説で探偵が犯人が分かったと宣言するシーンがあるでしょ。あれはつまりそこまでの文章で手がかりはすべて記したから、読者諸君どうぞ推理をしてくださいという合図なのですよ。
へえ、単なるお約束のセリフかと思ってたが、そんな意味があったんだな。
意地悪に言うと、探偵がそう宣言しない限り、どんなにミステリーを愛する推理自慢の読者であっても、推理をする気力は生じないということです。
Yeah, you could always think, oh, maybe I'm still missing a vital key or something. What is the point of trying to figure it out now when it all is gonna be for naught? If, like, in about 2 pages I get something else that completely contradicts what I've thought so far. It's interesting.
過去のゲームにおけるあなたもそうではありませんでしたか？
Now that I hear it, maybe that really was the case. Maybe my fight against Beata really began in the second game. At first I didn't seriously try to tackle the closed room riddles Beata threw at me. After all, I knew nothing except that people had died in a closed room and that windows and doors were all locked from the inside. I mean, seriously, talk about having no hints to go on. So I refused to argue on the grounds that I couldn't fight, because the lack of clues made reasoning impossible. After that, didn't Beata sneer at me, asking whether I'd repeat that over and over forever in an endless repetition of moves? At that time, Beata said this.
貴様ら無能どもがいつも嘆いてみせる思考停止の理由、情報不足。そしてそれに対し情報を与えると、今度はその情報の真偽を疑う根拠否定。便利よな。無能を棚上げする実に小気味よい言葉よ。
Then she said she'd give me certain information that couldn't be denied, and created a rule called the Red Truth. Once we reached that point, the curtain finally rose on my battle with Beato.
俺はベアトに、この物語は挑めば解けるという保証をもらって、初めて同じ土俵に上がったというわけか。
ベアトリーチェ、不思議な方です。謎こそが魔女の住まう狭間なのに、自らその謎を暴くことのできる赤き真実をあなたに与え始めたのですね。
You could say the red truth is a hint Beato gives me so that I can compete in this war of reasoning. Like candy. Because I've been given hints, it's like she's saying, try and solve it. For it can be solved. An enigma that's guaranteed to be solvable can't be called a true enigma.
これではまるでベアト自身が自分は本当は魔女じゃないって自分で認めてるようなものじゃないか。
おやおや、確かにそうなりますね。本当におかしな子です。
Beato gave no answer. With grey eyes, she did nothing but blankly gaze at the steam rising from a black tea.
我が父は思考する力に杖を与えるために実戒を生み出したのです。決して物事を傲慢に決めつけるためではありません。
思考する力に杖。
そうです。ノックス第8条、提示されない手がかりでの解決を禁ず。これは手がかりなしに当て推理で推理をしてはいけないという意味だけではありません。
逆に言えば、出題者は解決のための手がかりを必ず提示しなければならないということです。
つまり実戒に従うなら全ての謎には必ずヒントがあり、よって必ず解決は可能だと保証されていることになるわけか。
I see. So this is what they mean by a crutch for the power of thinking. If you can believe that it's solvable, you start wanting to have a go at those riddles. If you're capable of believing that hints do exist, you get fired up about rereading the story to search for it.
確かに推理しようとする人間にとって勇気を与える力はあるかもしれないな。
ノックス実戒はミステリーの出題者に課す制限と思われがちですが、読み手にとっても大切なものなのです。実戒を杖とすることで、私たちは推理する勇気と必ず隠されているに違いない手がかりを求めて、何度も物語を読み返す気力を授かるのです。
硬くて開かないジャム瓶の蓋みたいだな。母さんがよく言ってたぜ。開かないと思ってるといくら頑張っても開かないって。スポーツにもそういうのあるよな。必ず自分は成し遂げられるという強いイメージがあるのとないのでは記録に大きく差が出るというし。
It's almost as if determination and the certainty to be able to win in your heart has some kind of meaning, right? In that case, the Nox Decalogue isn't really a set of arrogant and strict restrictions. You can also see it as a way to encourage readers who are trying to solve the mystery, by telling them to give it their all, since it's definitely solvable.
面白い解釈だ。しかし、世の中の推理小説すべてが必ず実戒を守ってるわけでもないと聞いたぜ。そういう作品にぶち当たった時、 騙されたってことにはならないのかよ。
実戒もまた解釈の一つに過ぎず、全てのミステリーに適用できるものではありません。父の原理主義者の方々は実戒を破った作品を一旦激しく糾弾される方もいらっしゃるようですが。
There's no end of arguments like this in the mystery world. Was this or that famous detective novel really a fair mystery? In other words, one that followed Knox's Decalogue? That sort of argument is already an eternal theme of the mystery world. In fact, in mystery discussions, arguments like these sometimes become even more heated than discussions of the actual tricks.
そりゃ糾弾したくもなるだろうな。実戒に従い、解けると信じて挑んで。実は解けるようにできてませんでしたってオチだったら、さぞや悔しくて仕方ないだろうぜ。
That's right. When fighting with the Decalogue, there's just one thing you want guaranteed from the beginning. In other words, you want a guarantee that this detective novel will adhere to the Decalogue. If a work labels itself as an orthodox mystery, then you have nothing to worry about. However, the mystery genre contains many unorthodox subgenres within it. Does that mean trying to use reasoning in an unorthodox detective novel is a complete waste of time?
それはそれで傲慢な気もするな。
はい、私も父の実戒をそのような傲慢の武器にされるのは非常に悲しいことです。
お前は実戒を武器にさっきベアトと戦ったわけだが、それはつまりこのベアトのゲームの世界がノックス実戒にのっとっているという証なのか。
When I asked that, there was a strange silence. Virgilia, Lenore, and of course Beato. All remained silent for a while. Almost as though my question had touched at the core of something.
それは私の口からは言えません。
どうして？
これはこの子の作ったゲームです。あなたと勝敗を決めるためのゲーム。この子はそれをミステリーとファンタジーの対決のように呼んでいました。しかし残念ながら本格推理とは一言も言っていません。すなわち実戒にのっとっているという保証はないということです。
しかし同時にミス・ベアトリーチェはあなたとの勝負のゲームだともおっしゃっています。それはすなわちあなたにも勝利する余地があるということ。
すなわち推理は可能だって、そう言いたいのか。
この子に言わせればおそらく推理は可能となるのでしょう。しかしこの子とバトラ君が送り手と受け手の関係であるように2人は異なる存在です。ベアトにとって推理可能なつもりで出題したものがあなたにとっても推理可能なものなのかは別の問題です。
For example, let's say we propose a simple riddle that any Japanese person would know. However, if the person we're telling this riddle to is a foreigner with a Japanese-English dictionary in their hand, it might be almost impossible to solve. In other words, it's possible to have a one-sided solvable problem, which might be easy for the questioner, but extremely difficult for the person trying to solve it. By the way, do you know of the foreign riddle, why do dragons sleep all day? No, I don't. The answer is to battle the night. It's a riddle from the English realm, so it might be a little tough for a Japanese person.
だからこそ私はこの物語がバトラ君に絶対に解けるものだと約束することができません。しかしこれだけは約束できます。赤き真実でそれを保証します。
なんだ？
ベアとはあなたに解いてほしいと願って解けるようにこのゲームを この物語の謎を生み出しました。それだけは私が赤き真実で保証します。
It was the one guarantee that all those who try to use reasoning desire.
その答えが我が父の実戒にのっとり導き出せるものかはわかりません。しかしバトラが悩み苦しみ推理の指針を求めるときにもしも思い出したなら、我が実戒も試してみてください。再び挑む勇気と、ひょっとすると何か新しい発見を与えてくれるかもしれません。
ありがとうよ。心底行き詰まったらお前の戦い方も参考にしてみるぜ。っていいのかよ、敵に塩を送っちまって。
お気になされずに、手土産も持たずに訪れた茶会です。茶花の代わりとなったなら幸いです。それに私と再び相まみえたなら、そんな悠長なことを言っている暇はおそらくないでしょうから。
Noxus Decalogue. And Virgilius read truth.
ベアトは俺に解いてほしいと願って解けるようにこのゲームの謎を生み出した。
In other words, Beato wants me to be capable of solving it. Isn't that proof that reasoning is possible? Of course, it's from Beato's point of view, and it doesn't necessarily mean that reasoning is possible for me. Compared to before now, when I didn't even know whether reasoning was possible or not, that one line might give me a great deal of courage. At least it has the power to silence any negative thoughts about this being all useless.
推理できると先に相手に証明させなくては推理をしない。まるで奥手な若者の恋愛のようですね。
恋愛？
ええ、自分のことを愛してくれると相手が先に証明しない限り、自分も相手を愛したくない。でしょ？
Both boys and girls want to hear someone else say they loved them first. It's their dream. If they're in love, they don't want to love the other person until they're sure this person loves them back. After all, there's nothing as painful as a one-sided love. And the scars of the heart left behind last a long time. Because they are afraid of that pain, they want proof that the other person loves them first more than anything else.
なるほど。推理小説における作家と読者の関係を面白く表現しています。
Yeah. Maybe you could liken detective novels to that. Better than a food analogy. Both the writer and the reader first want the other party to say they solve it, or that it can be solved. Until the writer is sure that the reader will certainly have a go at the riddle if they propose it, they don't want to write the story. The same goes for the readers. Until they are sure that they will certainly be able to solve the riddle if they try, they don't want to read the story. Because they don't want to write what they consider a masterpiece and be hurt when no one reads it. Because they don't want to reason about what they consider a masterpiece and be hurt when they realize it was all useless.
その理論によると、まさに奥手な小学生中学生の恋愛だな。気があるくせに打ち明ける勇気もなく、相手の告白を待ってもじもじしたまま何の進展もなく、ひと夏が終わる。いやいや、他の男とくっついちまうことだってあるぜ。俺の初恋もそんな感じだったさ。
Along with these one-sided feelings they can't express, they lament the passage of a summer that will never come again, and the days of their youth end. The writer who wouldn't write until he gained the support of readers goes for all eternity without releasing his maiden work. The reader who waited for the writer's rise to fame goes their whole life without knowing the joy of the mystery genre. Sad.
バトラ君、その卵が先か鶏が先かという奥手な恋愛はどの段階にまで進んだら相思相愛の関係になるのですか？
それは積み重ねだろうな。 まず友達関係から始めてコミュニケーションを増やし、こいつはきっと俺のことが好きで俺も疑えなくなった段階を2人が共有できたところで、まあ多分自然と恋人関係に進めるんじゃないかと。唐突な告白で始まった関係は割と別れることも多いが、実は互いに告白したことがなく気づいたらずっと一緒にいたって連中の方が案外付き合いは長いってのが俺の今日までの印象だ。
つまり互いが相手を信じる信頼関係が生まれたらということですね。
意外だぜ。ミステリーってのは作家と読者のバトルだと思ってたんだが、実はそうじゃない。
互いが信頼し合った上でしか成立しない愛ある関係なのですよ。
じゃあこいつと俺の関係も殺し合いじゃなくて愛ある関係だっていうのかよ。
意地悪をし合う小学生同士の関係程度にしか見えませんがね。
Julia joked at us in a middle-aged woman sort of way. Still, though I'm not expecting friendship or a trusting relationship, I can accept her as a rival. Beato is fighting at full force trying to make me acknowledge that she's a witch, so I'll respond to that and go all out trying to deny that witches exist.
ミス・ベアトが正面から全力であなたにぶつかっている。どうしてあなたは言い切れるのですか？
見てりゃわかるだろ。
あなたに全力で正面からぶつかっていると彼女が赤き真実で宣言したわけではありません。なのにあなたはそれを疑わないわけですか？赤き真実以外は何も信じないとおっしゃったあなたがです。
バトラ君の言うところのコミュニケーションが増え、互いというものに違いないですね。
Virgilia and Leno giggled together. Oh god, look at Leno. One guy, multiple women. And the topic is love. Wait a second, isn't this the worst possible information for getting made fun of? It is. When I tried to bring back a proper mood for a tea party in the rainy golden land by clumsily searching for a more noble subject, Virgilia saw right through me and laughed. Even amidst this, Beato kept looking downwards with those grey eyes, staring into a black tea. Yeah, that's right. Virgilia and Leno have given me so many hints, and yet I barely thought about it at all. By now it's all too late. Let me think. Now that everything is too late already and I've got an endless amount of time on my hands, let me think. One more time, let me think about the red truth Virgilia gave me, and the crutch of the Decalogue that Leno lent me. With the red truth, Virgilia guaranteed that at the very least, Beato left enough room in this tale for me to achieve victory. That red truth guarantee will once again give me the power to start my heart beating. And there's the crutch of the Decalogue, which Leno lent me. Leno herself warned me in the beginning that the Decalogue isn't so almighty that it can solve all riddles. However, she said something about how it could be used as a method to solve. No, to take on riddles. Let me try it. Though there's no guarantee that this tale is of mystery or fantasy, let me believe that I'll definitely be able to solve it. That it is a solvable tale, a mystery. And let me take it on one last time.